All right, the first movie on our list today is Almost Famous. Take it away, Jude.
All right, sir. 2000, Almost Famous. Rated R with a runtime of 2 hours, 2 minutes. This had a budget of $60 million.
Wow.
$60 million.
$60 million. Wow.
What do you think this brought into the box office?
I'm going to say 100.
V?
110, 120.
47.
That's what is a flop?
Did not do
Get
well.
out.
Whoa.
This movie is
This is a great movie.
That's crazy to me.
Yeah, I thought it was a hit.
Great cast, great story.
Right?
Fun.
I haven't watched this probably since the first time I watched it, and I forgot how amazing it was. I'm so glad that I picked it.
I love this movie.
I love it too.
This was a first watch for me, and I'm trying to figure out. No, for real. I'm trying to figure out why I didn't watch it.
You've never seen this movie before?
What? This movie was good. This was
Yeah.
good.
This was French for good.
Yeah, this movie is very good.
I am Groot.
So I can't believe you've never seen this movie before.
I don't know why.
Wow, that's crazy.
I think it's just kind of one of those movies that it must have just flown under my radar.
Huh.
I mean, in the year 2000, I wasn't going to a lot of movies. I was.
Right. I definitely saw this.
but-
This was an at-home movie for me. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it in theaters, but I remember it when it came out. I mean, I was freaking crushing hard on Kate Hudson for sure.
Oh God, she's so
She's
pretty.
So
adorable
beautiful.
in
Yeah,
this.
she has like that girl next door type, like
Yeah.
freaking fun vibe going out through this entire movie.
She's got good looking mom and dad too. So
Yep.
Right.
Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn.
hell yeah, dude. I still
Kurt Russell's
I still
not her
got
dad.
a crush on Goldie Hawn.
Wait.
Yeah, dude.
She's Goldie Hawn's daughter. She's not Kurt Russell's.
Yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, this is
Okay. Who's the father?
Mr. Hudson.
Yeah.
Some dude named Hudson.
Hudson.
Her brother.
Oh, I didn't know that was Goldie Hawn's daughter.
yeah.
That's super cool. Right on.
Yeah.
All right, I can see the familiarity now.
Kurt Russell's her stepdad.
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
I mean, just by proxy, that makes you way fucking cool.
Just by coincidence, just total coincidence. I also this week on my watch list was Overboard, the original one with Kurt Russell,
The good one.
the good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good one, not with Anna Faris, the other one.
We have a crush on him, huh?
Kurt Russell?
As a show, we have a crush on him.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
he's our freaking. He's
I would
the
say
He's
that
up
is
there with
accurate.
JCVD.
Is he our spirit animal?
he's the granddaddy of the podcast, bud.
Yeah, we need to get him on.
I would love to
up,
get
Kurt?
him on.
He's Father Podcast.
He's grandfather podcast.
Yeah,
Yes,
for
absolutely.
I'll
Anyway,
have our people talk to his people.
all right, cool. Yeah, reach out to him.
Goldie too.
Goldie? Let's get Goldie.
I love her. I love
We
her
can get
so
them both
much.
on the same time.
That's
All
fine.
right, Jude, before we
Yes.
get super sidetracked, go ahead. What is this movie all about?
All right. William Miller, a very serious journalist who's definitely not 15 years old, meets Penny Lane, a retired Band-Aid at the top of the groupie ramp outside of a Black Sabbath concert. He's there on assignment and definitely not 15 years old when he meets the late and locked out members of the up-and-coming band Stillwater. When he proves he's not just the enemy, but a fan, the band invites him to join them on the next stop of their tour and agree to let him interview them. One stop becomes another and another until William finds himself a trusted member of the band's inner circle, giving him all the ammo he needs for an explosive think piece about a mediocre band struggling with the harsh reality of their rise to fame. William's mother is worried sick that her definitely 15-year-old son will do drugs while on tour with the band, but instead should have been worried about how boring Greenville, South Carolina is. Penny Lane, a probably 14-year-old Anna Paquin, and a few other of the female friends of the band join William and Stillwater, aiding them and being muses on the road and living the rock star life vicariously. Frontman Jason Lee and the other members of the band live in the shadow of lead guitarist Billy Crudup, who is being mused by Penny Lane from town to town. When his wife shows up on the tour, Penny gets the boot. And though her mantra is, "Don't fall in love," she can't bear to be cast aside. When the band manager kicks her out of an event, she decides to spend the rest of the evening with some Quaaludes and nearly dies until William finds her. He professes his love, kisses her unconscious lips, and calls a doctor to pump her stomach, saving her. The next day, realizing he's the only person who really cared about her, she tells him her real name, and they part ways as friends who will meet again someday. William goes back on the road with the band, but when an electrical storm wreaks havoc on their plane, everyone starts declaring their sins to each other. Jason Lee is in love with Billy Crudup's wife. William says they're all assholes for the way they treated Penny, and bass player Silent Ed Valancourt declares he's gay. When William recounts the story of the near plane crash confessions to Rolling Stone magazine, the band denies his story and he's laughed out of Rolling Stone as some dumb kid. Defeated, he makes his way back home to his bed, but wakes up to Billy Crudup in his bedroom, who thought he was coming to see Penny. They both loved her and wanted to be with her, but she wanted them to be together. Stillwater finally admits that everything William wrote was true. Penny goes on a solo adventure to Morocco, and William finally gets the respect from his peers, who were all adults just like him. Discuss.
So, here's what I did.
What'd you do?
This is how dumb I am. Okay.
That's a way to start.
I watched this movie, and I spent a half hour after the movie was over trying to find the real band Stillwater.
Oh, no.
I'm like, this is the real band. This is a true story. I want to know what the hell's going on. And then it dawned on me, it's like, it's fake.
Yeah. No.
God damn
It's
it.
based on...
It's an amalgamation of
Yeah.
all the different bands that
But
Cameron
the band
Crowe.
Stillwater is fake. And
Yeah.
I just wanted to hear their music and stuff because
Well, I'll tell you that in that lane of thinking, above all the other movies we watched this week, this is the one that I think takes the cake for the best soundtrack for like the bands. The Fever Dog, the songs that they actually sing in the show, those are legit fun songs
Yeah.
that I would listen to.
Yeah.
That's not
I
true.
could see myself at that show.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that's not true of Airheads. Like that was the music on that freaking movie
Yeah,
sucks.
Peter Frampton was the one who kind of coached the band in this movie. So like he was actually like there because he was one of the bands that Cameron Crowe kind of came up with.
Can you-
Rolling Stone?
Give us some history on who that is.
I don't
He's like,
know who
he's
he is.
a famous guitarist.
Yeah, I think Peter Frampton was the guy that made his guitar talk.
Okay.
This is a little bit before my time. I was born in 1970. So in the 70s, which is I think this was set in, right?
Mhm.
I'm just a little stupid kid.
73.
Yeah, I'm 3 years old. So my music scene is when we Airheads era.
You know what's funny? Because
Okay,
you
so-
say that I have like an old soul.
You do. Yeah.
Early 70s rock and roll.
I can totally see you running around with fucking beads over your neck and long hair. It's like, hey man, peace.
Peace, man.
Smoke love,
Just-
make love, smoke dope. Yeah. That's this era. This is
Was Peter Frampton in the Eagles?
was
that him?
I don't think
Somebody
so.
fact check us.
Peter
If you-
Frampton was the guy that like made his guitar talk.
If you guys know, comment in the
Yeah,
comment
so-
section below if you're a music fan.
But
But I love the vibe of this movie. It makes you feel like you're in the 70s. Like it does such a good job of like engrossing you into this world that this kid's along for this ride.
Yeah.
And it hits all the freaking tropes, all those wild stories you heard about freaking rock bands on tour. Like it's in this movie and it makes you feel like you're a part of it. And I think my favorite character might actually be the mom because she reminds me of my mom.
reminds me of my mom too.
Definitely reminds me of my mom.
Yeah, I just adore her because she's always like, don't do drugs, kids. Like, don't stay away from that nonsense while she's,
Well, when
trying to
she
protect her
calls out
kid.
to him, "Don't do drugs," like everyone around him just turns around. They're
Yeah.
like, "Don't do
Don't do
drugs."
drugs.
They're like showing off all their drugs.
This mom was actually kind of cool because she knew that she couldn't control her kids.
Right. She
At a
came to
certain
that
point, it's like,
realization. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I guess I just have to hope they don't like fuck up. And her 15-year-old kids out touring the country with
With a rock band for Rolling
Stillwater.
Stones.
Which is a thing that happened.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was also funny because, like, she was a teacher, and she placed a heavy emphasis on academics, and so like she bumped him up like 2 grades when he was like a first grader or whatever. And so like he thought that he was like older than he really like. He didn't even know his own age because of his mom. And so like when he finds out that he's actually like 2 years younger than he thought he was, he kind of takes his revenge by, using that to justify going on this trip with these rock stars because he's like 15, but he's like, well, technically I could be 18.
Can you believe freaking Zooey Deschanel is in this movie?
Gosh, she's so pretty.
Blew
I
my
love Zooey
mind.
Deschanel.
I barely recognized her without her giant freaking glasses
I
and her
know.
bangs.
Yeah.
So originally, the character of Penny Lane was going to be played by an actress named Sarah Polley. And
Oh, from American Horror Story?
no,
Oh, that's Sarah Paulson.
Yeah, no. Sarah Polley was in she was kind of like an indie actress. I can't remember the last thing I saw her in. But anyway, she was cast as Penny Lane, and so like Brad Pitt was originally cast as Russell Hammond,
Oh, okay.
and Sarah Polley was going to be Penny Lane, and Cameron Crowe worked with Brad Pitt for like months on the character and the performance and stuff like that. And eventually, Brad Pitt was like, "Look, I don't get this character. This movie isn't for me. I'm going to bail. And so like they parted ways. And when Brad Pitt left, Sarah Polley was like, well, if Brad's leaving, I'm going to go and do an indie passion project movie of mine. And so like she left, and Kate Hudson was originally cast as the sister. And Cameron Crowe was like, I really like Kate's energy. I'm going to, you know, change her character to Penny Lane. And that opened up the sister character to cast Zooey Deschanel.
So this is, I don't know, this movie doesn't really fit our normal genre movie because it's a drama.
It's a docudrama kind of. I don't know. I almost look at it as like a historical document. For real.
It's a period piece.
Yeah, for sure. Because, you know, it's accurate as far as a lot of that stuff goes.
Oh, yeah. It definitely takes some real stories.
I knew people like this, you know, these hippie dudes with long hair and their very big collars and bell-bottom jeans and stuff.
Yeah. I know it's not. I know it's not based in the 70s because the band that I'm talking about came along much later after that, but they kind of like mimicked the 70s rock and roll scene. I just listened to Dave Grohl's autobiography, Storyteller, and it was all just how he went from Scream to Nirvana to Foo Fighters, and it was like his trek through history of like what it was like being a traveling band.
Man, when Zoe Saldana's character, the sister,
Zoe Deschanel.
What did I say?
Zaldana. That's Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, Jesus. I'm getting my Zoes mixed up. My Zoe and my bulldog that I had.
She didn't call her Zendaya.
Zendaya. She would have been great in this movie. Zoe Deschanel, when she gave her brother that record
collection.
I was he's slipping through those, and I'm like, oh man,
that's some dope ass record.
That's a good collection.
That was actually Cameron Crowe's record collection.
Wow.
That's some legit shit right there.
That's something I've always like. I'm not from this era, but like when I watch scenes like that, I'm like, man, when I get some disposable income, I'm gonna get myself a freaking record collection.
We need to go up to the vinyl store. Just
to buy some records.
Just to soak it in.
To give this a little bit of context, so Cameron Crowe was like a music journalist growing up. Wrote for Rolling Stone, toured around with all these bands, and then eventually he wrote the book Fast Times at Ridgemont High, which got turned into a movie, which he also wrote the screenplay for, and that was like a big hit. And that was kind of like his inroad into Hollywood. And right before this movie came out, he had just done Jerry Maguire, and that was a huge hit, Oscar winner. And he had this passion project kind of on the back burner for some time, and it was originally called Untitled. And it was kind of like a collection of his experiences as a Rolling Stone journalist. And Lawrence Kasdan, the screenwriter for Empire Strikes Back and all these other big movies, had been encouraging him to like go after this movie and get it out there. And so he started distributing it to studios, and Steven Spielberg got a hold of it, and he ended up loving the script. And he said, like, you need to direct every scene in the script. And so DreamWorks was the one who funded this movie. And it was I can remember when this movie came out, and like all the marketing for it was like heavy marketing, and it was all based off of like the success of Jerry Maguire. And I can remember just being like, I don't like any of the music I'm hearing in the trailers. I don't think this looks like a very interesting movie. I don't like any of the people that are in it. So I went to go see it in the theater, and I could just kind of walk out of there like, well, that was a movie. You know,
has it grown on you over the years?
Not really.
No,
really?
You don't like this movie?
I mean, it played better on our rewatch than it did when I saw it in the theater. But like, you know, like I feel like it's too long, and I just don't care about any of the characters in it.
I don't mind that though.
I didn't either,
because I'm kind of engrossed in the story
it's
to the
like,
point where I'm just along for the ride, and I kind of forget about how much time is going by.
You guys know how I watch movies, right? I watch an hour here, a half hour there for most of the stuff. And when I can turn on a movie and I push play and I sit through the whole time, and all of a sudden the credits are rolling, that tells me I probably like this movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what happened. It just like, next thing I knew, it was over.
That's with this movie?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was just,
that's awesome.
And I was pretty,
I'll tell you this, my favorite parts of this movie are always when the character of Lester Bangs, who's played by Philip Seymour Hoffman, is on.
Oh, I love that
He's
guy.
really good.
And like Philip Seymour Hoffman, he was just, RIP, like he's passed away, but like he was such a good actor that he just stole every scene that he showed up. And it was funny because like he was there for 4 days. He shot for 4 days and he had the flu the entire time.
Really?
And so that performance that he's giving is him being miserable and sick, and you can't tell at all. And he steals every scene that he's in.
Philip Seymour Hoffman is probably one of the best actors I've ever seen in a movie.
Dude,
like, I love him in everything. Along Came Polly. He's freaking hilarious. Mission Impossible 3. He's scary as shit.
Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
But, like all the movies I've ever seen him in, man, he just.
I think about him more with these kind of roles, and it just makes me
It makes me sad.
It makes me hate.
Was he in Lords of Dogtown too?
Drugs and addiction. It's taken so many of our cool actors away from us. It annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah. I
don't mean to bring the thing.
No, I know. I
down.
understand. Well, I mean, this is kind of a bummer movie too.
Yeah, it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Well, it was interesting because Lester Bangs also died of an overdose, and so like there's like weird parallels there between him and the actor that actually played him in this movie.
Wow. Man, Philip Seymour Hoffman is freaking awesome though. Like every movie I've ever seen him in, he just Twister, the Suck Zone. Like, come on, man.
I still haven't seen that one where he was based on like L. Ron Hubbard, where he played. It was like one of his last movies.
I don't remember.
We'll have to check it out.
We'll have to check it out later. But anyway, Philip Seymour Hoffman being in this movie is awesome. I don't know. I just get sucked into the story, man. Like this movie is so good at just like making you feel like you're on the journey with this kid.
And one of the interesting parts about this movie is like it is a collection of stuff that actually happened. Like one of the guys from Led Zeppelin, I think it was Robert Plant, he stood up on a balcony and said like, I'm a golden god, and like that made it into this movie. The airplane scene where the airplane's getting ready to crash and they start like kind of revealing their secrets, that actually happened when Cameron Crowe was on a flight with the Alice Cooper band, and they thought that the plane was crashing, and one of the band members, like they've never said who, turned to another band member and is like, I'm sleeping with your wife. and then like once the flight leveled out, everyone was just like in this awkward silence.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And so like this movie is just a collection of like those like little experiences that Cameron Crowe had as a music journalist from various different bands kind of put together. Like when when William gets pulled into that kind of group hug right before the band goes out on stage, like Eddie Vedder used to do that to him for like Lollapalooza or something like that. He grabbed Cameron Crowe and brought him into the band huddle right before like they went out on stage. And so like there's just like a lot of little things like that made it into the movie and make it feel like legit.
And authentic. It does feel like an authentic movie, which is probably why you Googled Stillwater to find out where their music came from.
I thought it was legit. I did. I forgot we were doing bands that don't exist week.
I'm trying to think of a couple of like my favorite scenes.
Was it when Greenville, South Carolina was really boring and they decided to deflower the kid?
Well, what's funny is Patrick Fugit, who plays William in the movie. So he really was like 15, and his voice cracked during the movie. Like his voice changed. So like he was going through puberty as the movie was being shot.
Oh my
and he's on the phone with Rolling Stone. And
hey, how you doing?
He's like, yes, of course. And then his mom is like, honey, I need you to do that thing. It was like to the garbage disposal.
Yeah.
And the guy from Rolling Stone is
and
just
they all know.
Yeah, the guy from Rolling Stone is like, yeah, your wife sounds pissed. You better get to that.
The whole running gag of him on the phone through the whole movie was funny.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, man, you got that bag of weed or whatever.
And he's on the phone with his mom.
And like Rainn Wilson shows up with like this big long cigarette.
Yeah, Rainn Wilson is in this movie too. What a great cast, man. This movie's freaking dope.
Yeah,
it's a really good cast.
It's funny because like when the girls like deflower William, like the morning afterwards, like he's trying to rush out to get his interview because he just got off the phone with Rolling Stone, and they're like, hey, could you take like the laundry? And he's like, what am I to you? What am I? And then the next scene, look at him, and the next scene, like he's carrying their laundry.
He's got the laundry bag with him.
Yeah, she's like, if it had been any city other than Greenville, you'd still be a virgin.
Like they were just so bored they couldn't do anything else.
Yeah, they were like, let's deflower this.
I'm just glad. I just have to give the movie. I'm glad that they didn't go out of their way to show that all go down.
Well, what's weird is I turned to Jude after we watched that scene, and I was like, I know they think he's 18, but he's really 15. Do you think this is like weird at all?
There's a couple moments in this movie where, especially with Kate Hudson, because she looks super young.
And she says in the beginning that she's 16.
Yeah. And then there's scenes with her topless, like dancing around to freaking getting high and shit like
topless?
that. Yeah.
I missed that part.
How did you miss that part?
Were you playing Dragon Champions?
Bro, this has a half star for, Dragon Champions.
What? You need to pull it up and show me.
I don't know if I can.
And
I must have blinked.
It's interesting because you have to put it in the perspective of what time it is
1970s.
in. And like legitimately, like Elvis was on tour with a 13-year-old girl that he eventually married. And these things happened. Like
it was a different time.
I want to say it was
it's weird to say that, but it's
was
true.
It Bowie that had like an under like a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old groupie that toured with them?
Led Zeppelin.
This happened a lot.
But it is kind of like weird to think about, you know, in the context of today's mores.
Like nobody's getting away with this now.
No, definitely not.
At this time, this wasn't that unusual.
That's the scary part.
Yeah.
That's really well. It's funny because
when you watch it now and you're like, oh my god, this was like not
WTF, man.
Like where do these parents think their kids are?
Well,
like the way that we treat our kids now, which is like we know exactly where they are at all times.
Yeah.
But like back in the 70s,
to prevent shit like this from happening.
Back in the 70s, it's like your kid could just disappear for a couple of weeks and you'd be like, oh, you're back. Where were you?
It's the boomers,
These stupid hand pacifiers that we carry around all the time.
Hand pacifiers?
Our phones.
Our phone woobies. That's basically what they are. We're all
Says the guy who has 100 different electronics in front of him right now.
I'm not denying it. They changed the world.
Okay.
So, because the party that they went to in the I went to dozens of those parties.
Oh, where they were just all sitting around in their room, like contemplating the universe
It's like
on acid.
The entire high school would get together at some poor schmuck's house.
Yeah, whose parents
went away for the weekend, destroyed the house. It was every weekend there was one of those. Every weekend during the school year, back when I was in school, and you beg your parents not to leave because you know that it's like this is the true story. My parents went away for one weekend. I'm not hosting a party. I knew I wasn't going to host the party. Guess what happened?
The party came to you?
The party came to me.
Well, that's your fault for telling people that your parents were out of town.
Because people knew my mom and dad were gone for the weekend. All of a sudden, I have 50 people in my house.
Whoa.
And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? I was mad because my house got destroyed. And I had to try to clean up everything before my mom and dad got home.
Yeah. And speaking of mothers, some of my favorite scenes in this movie are how like his mother freaks out everyone she talks to.
Oh yeah,
like you had Fairuza Balk get freaked out, then you had Billy Crudup get freaked out. She's like,
by the way, this is the maid.
No, my favorite scene with her on the phone is with Russell when she's like, Russell, you can do better than this.
Yeah.
I know you're a good person deep down inside, and it fucks him up the rest of the movie.
Your mom kind of freaked me out. and like when he first gets on with her, he's like, "Yeah, I just want to tell you how awesome your son is." Like,
really cool.
She just completely breaks his psyche, and he's just like, "Oh my god, what am I doing with my life?"
Well, he's so used to people being like, "Oh my god,
it's Russell,"
and she's like, "I don't give a fuck."
Yeah. He keeps saying that he wants something real, and then the minute that he finds real stuff, like he runs away from it because it freaks him out.
Yeah. That's another thing. R2 is in the chat right now. And he said, remember having to remember your friends and family's phone numbers?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Like he's traveling across the United States and he has to call. What was the agreement that he had with his mom? His mom was like, you had to call every 3 day. Yeah. 3 times a day, every day.
He never called once.
And he never called.
Maybe once a day. I don't know. But I feel like she was always calling him.
Yeah,
the hotels they were coming. You need to call your mom right now.
High school graduation.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right.
Of stuff.
It's like he gives a shit.
But that's like a life experience, though, right? Like I don't remember going to my graduation for high school, but if I went on a freaking road trip with a band across the United States, I'd remember that forever.
So should we talk about the Tiny Dancer bus scene?
That's like the most iconic scene in the movie, right?
Yeah,
yeah. When they're all in the bus, it's after the acid trip party. Russell gets back on the bus. They find him. He's like freaking sloshed. They're dragging him back on
there. The band
there.
had a huge fight.
Yeah.
Right before he
over a
off.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
You know what's funny about these movies is like I started seeing a similar dynamic that we have for the podcast.
I did too.
And I was like, oh shit. Like
it's a road. Why is Alex's face on the front of everything?
Because I'm the front man.
I'm way funnier than that fucking guy.
You're just a blurry shadow.
It's just Jude's in the background.
Oh, please. You know it would be Kadish.
Well, he wants to be the blurry person in the background. He's like, I don't want to.
I'm the mute drummer.
No, it would be his face clear, and the rest of us are just blurry blobs in the background. You'd be like, I don't know, guys. It's just a t-shirt. Doesn't even matter.
Doesn't even matter. Don't even worry about
It's
it.
like, what's our cut?
But I did, yeah. But I did see some similarities between
the power dynamic.
the power dynamic between a group of people who are working together to create something for entertainment reasons.
Yeah.
Like we're working together to create entertainment for other people that we don't know. And it's the same thing that this band is going through.
Everybody has a little bit of an ego. It's just the way it
And
is.
like when the lead singer says to the lead guitarist, I'm the front man.
Mhm.
You're supposed to be the mysterious one. And you know it's because he knows like
He's
that Russell
cooler.
has so much charisma that people are drawn to him.
Yeah.
So he needs him to like tone down how cool he is, his magnetism, so that the front man can be the front man.
I mean, that's correct. I mean, most of these bands wouldn't be anything without the correct front man.
Mhm.
I mean, imagine Led Zeppelin without Robert Plant. Would never work. You know, Black Sabbath wasn't very good after Ozzy left.
I think you might be the front man for the podcast.
You know,
buddy.
well, that's your job. It's like you got your face on there. But you know, it's just how bands are.
It's a dynamic.
Absolutely.
It's
You have to have a charismatic
mhm.
guy singing.
I'm just gonna my final thought. So I don't have a lot of salt for this movie. I love this movie. There's not a lot of criticisms. I'll just say that the main character, I can't remember his freaking name, William. He's the only one who I felt like there was a couple scenes where he was supposed to be acting, and it was clear that he was a young kid trying to act in the scene, and it was a little stiff, a little flat.
Yeah,
and
I feel like he was cast for his eyes. Like,
Yeah,
he's got very big eyes.
I don't think he was the perfect fit for this movie to be the main character, because there was a couple scenes where I felt like he should have sold it a lot more, and he just wasn't able to or something.
I would have liked to have seen the Levitt kid. What was his name?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt in that role. I don't remember if he was the right age.
I think he was
but
too old
I feel
at
like
that
he would have
point.
been right there. He probably could have pulled it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's who I actually thought that was at first for a second. But
That's really my only criticism of the movie, is that the main character actor just isn't the strongest actor I've seen as far as like the age group goes. Like I think there's other younger actors that could have pulled that off really well.
Yeah, there's a scene where he's talking to Penny Lane, and she asks him to go to Morocco with her, and he's like, yes. Wait, ask me again. And she's like, come to Morocco with me, and he's like, yes. And that was actually like him like kind of breaking character, because he was like, wait, I can do that line better. Ask me again. And Cameron Crowe just liked how it looked, so he left that in the movie.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's cool. But yeah, that's my only criticism of it. The rest of the movie I adore. I love. Kate Hudson is freaking awesome in this movie. The band is
It was
really
like
cool.
her first big movie, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I
it
think so,
definitely
yeah.
was. I kind of got introduced to her. There's a movie called The Four Feathers with Heath Ledger. Freaking amazing movie with Kate Hudson. That's kind of where I got introduced to her, and then I saw her in Fool's Gold with Matthew McConaughey, and then I fell in love with her.
And isn't
she's so
no,
pretty.
that's not the one with Owen Wilson. Which is the one with Owen Wilson?
It's How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
No.
No, that's with Matthew McConaughey.
That's Matthew McConaughey too. Yeah, I
I'm
don't
gonna
know.
look it up.
Anyway, absolutely love Kate Hudson in this movie. Awesome. The band, so much fun. You know what? Honestly, the main singer guy, Jason Lee.
Yeah.
I see Brody.
Yeah.
He sounds like Brody.
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
acts like Brody.
Yeah.
Like I just see Mallrats, but like 10 years in the future when he starts a band with his friends. So it kind of takes me out of it a little bit. But I think this movie's freaking great. And if you haven't seen it, you definitely need to go check it out. If you're a fan of music, if you're a fan of period pieces, it's a fun freaking movie.
What's your score?
Solid 3. Real strong
Okay.
3. I would probably have given it a 4 if the main actor had a little bit stronger of an acting chops, because I felt like he kind of killed the vibe. I don't think he was a good fit. But yeah, 3. Solid 3. How about you, bud?
He didn't kill the vibe for me. I thought the kid was fine for what his role was. You know,
Okay.
he felt like an innocent kid going out and getting an education, and he was, you know, but he's super smart, so he's taking
Yeah.
advantage of it. You know, I thought it was fine.
Okay.
My score, I think I liked it a little bit more than you. It's my favorite movie of the week.
Okay.
Surprisingly enough, I'm gonna go 3.5. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's my favorite movie of the week too.
Yeah.
What about half star for boobs you didn't see?
That's 3.5. I'm gonna go 3.
That's the half.
Yeah.
I'll show you the clip
Sure.
later.
He's like, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah.
There was some debate in the chat on what she was wearing. Somebody said she was wearing a see-through shirt.
Yeah.
You
Well, I mean,
said
they
she
play.
was naked. I thought she was wearing the green coat with nothing.
Yes. So it was a scene. She was in one of the lofts or hotel
One of the
rooms.
hotel rooms, and she's like
just
dancing around.
She has a jacket on, but she doesn't have a shirt on. And there's a scene where she does a little
Okay,
twirl.
she's wearing the green coat.
Yeah, it's not like a obnoxious, like a sex scene or anything like that.
No.
It's
I
real
think
quick.
it was very well done because, I mean, it played like things that would happen in this situation.
Yeah,
it wasn't. They didn't bring attention to it at all.
This is one of those movies that I'm surprised I like it as much as I do, because
It's not usually. Yeah,
it's not
something-
in my wheelhouse as far as things that I would go out of my way to go watch. But I would have no problem watching this again. Like if my wife wanted to watch it or something,
But
it's like, okay, let's put it on.
if I find the freaking Stillwater soundtrack on Spotify, I'd probably listen to it.
Yeah.
I actually liked Fever Dog, that song that
Yeah.
they sung.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Jude, final thoughts? Give it a rating.
I forgot how good this movie is. I'm really glad that I watched it again. It's 22 years old, and I feel like it still holds up really well. Everyone in it is just so adorable. Like Kate Hudson is just, I mean, she's a groupie, but she's at the same
She's a
time.
Band-Aid.
Let me finish. At the same time, she's like this child, but also this wise woman, and just so adorable. And you just want to reach out and like touch her cheek. She's gorgeous.
Yeah. You want to protect her.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, come here. Let me protect you from the world.
You want to be in her orbit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and win her along with a case of beer.
Yep.
In a poker game.
Yeah.
A case of Heineken.
That scene where he tells her,
Oh, and she breaks, and then she like
and yeah,
sucks it back in and is like,
there's like
"Nope,
a
I'm good."
silent tear. She smiles, wipes away her tear, and
What
says,
kind of
"What
beer
kind of
was?
beer?"
Oh, God damn it.
She's amazing.
So good.
She's amazing in
So
this.
good.
This movie's really good, and the soundtrack, like you said, I would totally listen to it. I would go see these bands today.
Mm-hmm.
For a movie about a fictional band, this nails it. This is 4 stars for me.
Wow.
This
Nice.
is 4 cases of beer
Okay.
out of
Heineken?
5.
What kind of beer?
Shutterbach.
Okay.
Spoken like a true Ohioan.
Kadish,
Shutterbach's from Texas.
Kadish, take it away.
So I like Cameron Crowe a lot. Say Anything. It's a great movie.
I love saying anything.
Fast Times at Ridgemont High. Jerry Maguire, I think, fabulous movie. The movies that Cameron Crowe made after that, which is this movie, Almost Famous, and then his next movie was Vanilla Sky. I did not care for either of those movies, and I think it's mostly just because me personally, they're not my style film. Like the cast in this movie, the writing, the direction, the story, like this should be a 4-star movie for me, but it's not. And that's strictly because of my own personal tastes in films. Like for me, like I'm usually bored when I'm watching this movie. And I've seen it like 3 times, I think now, including this rewatch. First time was in the theater. And, I'm a big Cameron Crowe fan. I think he's a fantastic writer. But for me, this movie is just 2 Band-Aids out of 5.
2?
Like it's maybe 2.5. I don't find it enjoyable enough to be a 3-star, but like it's not a bad movie by any means.
Is it because you never lived that rock star life?
Not really. Like, like I've done the journalism thing before, and I've had my crazy times in my life, especially in Hollywood. But
Back in Hollywood.
So like, I can relate to the experiences and stuff like that. I just feel like there was no overarching narrative that I truly cared about. It was just like a collection of things that happened in Cameron Crowe's life that were kind of like loosely strung together through like a fictional take on this time period. And it's really a love letter to the music and the time period and stuff like that. And because of that, it feels kind of meandering. Like there was no like real kind of central relationship, unless you want to count the one between, William and Russell. But even that never really got kind of fully explored because they were never truly like friends, I guess you'd say. So to me, like the movie just feels kind of aimless and it's very long and I get bored every time I watch it. So overall, like for me, like, yeah, this is 2.5 out of 5.
So on your Back in Hollywood escapades as a journalist, were you deflowered by bored groupies?
I was deflowered by many different types of things.
Things.
TMI.
Things.
Wow.
Inanimate objects. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's I don't know how to segue off of that.
Yeah, you shouldn't have asked that question, dude.
Just made it weird.
That's it for Almost Famous. I would highly suggest going and checking it out. It's a ton of fun. It's a great movie. I really enjoy it.